What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we are going to talk about bulking on a vegan diet.
Rise above. Focus on science.
Now, I know a lot of people find it hard to bulk on a vegan diet because usually on a vegan diet you're eating so many vegetables and you're eating such a huge amount of fiber, and it's hard to get a lot of calories. And I also have that problem, especially because I really need a lot of calories. At the peak of my last bulk I weighed 81 kg, which is not a lot, but I was eating 4,500 calories a day. It was really hard, and it was all from whole food. So as you can imagine, I spent my life in the bathroom. So today I want to make your life easier, and I'm gonna give you my best bulking tips. So my number one tip for a good bulk is to do a very long bulk. One of the biggest bulking mistakes that I see is that people jump between a bulk and a cut every 3, 4 or 6 months, and that's not, unless you're a beginner, that's not enough for you to build enough muscle to cut down again. So for me, I usually bulk for 2 years and then I cut for about 12 to 16 weeks. And I know that may seem like a lot, but this is really the best way to bulk. Take long bulking periods, especially if you're a natural, because that's how you're gonna see the most gains in strength and in size. And to bulk during 2 years, you really need to apply the second tip, that is being in a slight caloric deficit. It's not the more calories you eat, the more muscle you build. There's actually a limit to that. And I always talk about this study that split the participants into 2 groups. One group was in a caloric surplus of 600 calories and the other one was in a caloric surplus of 300 calories. At the end of the study, the group that was on a 600 calorie surplus gained pretty much as much muscle as the group that was on a 300 calorie surplus, but they gained way more fat. So there's a limit to how many calories will turn into muscle, and for me I usually do 200 to 300 calorie surplus. This will be the best way to do a lean bulk and to bulk for a long period of time. 2 years. On my last bulk, and as you could see here on the transformation on my channel, I was the heaviest that I've ever been, the fattest that I've ever been, but I could still see my abs. And I had been bulking for 2 years. Okay, and those are my 2 biggest bulking tips in general. Let's get now into the practice. Now, my number one tip, if you have trouble eating a lot of calories, is to have 2 carb sources per meal. 2 high carb sources per meal. What do I mean? Have you ever heard the rule that you should never eat rice and potatoes, pasta and potatoes in the same meal because it will make you fat? Well, it won't make you fat, but the thing is, when people eat 2 high carb sources in one single meal, they tend to eat more calories, and that's why they get fat, because it's easier to get more calories from 2 sources than from 1 source. And if you're trying to bulk, this is actually a great strategy. For me, I find it's really easier to have rice and roasted potatoes, for example, or pasta with some potatoes in the middle. That's something that we really use here in Portugal, because it gets so much easier to eat more calories. Okay, the second tip that I have for you is the single worst tip that I've ever given here on the channel, health-wise, and that is cut down on your veggie consumption. And it hurts me to say this, but eating 300 or 400 grams of veggies per meal, it's probably not ideal for a bulking diet if you're trying to eat a lot of calories and put on weight. When you're cutting, then yes, eat 3, 4, 500 grams of veggies, all kinds of veggies per meal, and that will be great. But if you're bulking, maybe tone it down to 100, 150 grams of veggies per meal. Otherwise, you will have trouble eating that many calories because veggies are high in volume and low in calories. They will fill you up quick and will not give you the calories that you need to gain weight. On the other side, fruit really is your friend. We can eat a lot of fruit, digest it easily, and it's super healthy, so go with a lot of fruits if you're bulking, because you will be able to eat a lot more calories, and you can make up for the veggies that you're not eating. And talking about fruit, the next tip is about dehydrated fruit like dried figs, raisins, dates. These are your friends. You can easily eat 100-200 grams of this, not feel full. You can add them to a smoothie, you can bake with them, you can do everything, and they taste really great, and you can eat a lot of calories with it, and they're still healthy. Okay, the next tip is especially for those on a plant-based diet, especially on a whole foods plant-based diet like myself, and that is choose low fiber protein sources. If I'm carrying the best protein sources that I have are beans, lentils, chickpeas, because they have a lot of fiber, they will fill me up and I won't be as hungry. But if I'm bulking, I really need to tone it down on the beans and legumes, and I need to increase my tofu, soy, tempeh, seitan consumption, because with this you will be able to eat a little bit more without feeling as full, or you will be able to eat less because they are really high in protein, so you need less, and you will be able to increase your carbohydrate consumption, which are easier to digest, like rice, potatoes and pasta. So that's a great tip. If you're cutting, go with a lot of legumes. If you're bulking, go with more of the tofu, soy and all of that. You can still eat legumes, just don't eat as much. Okay, and talking about low fiber protein sources, protein powder can be your friend, especially on a bulk. On a bulk, you really don't want to fill up your stomach with a lot of food, although you have to. So protein powder is a really easy way to eat more protein on a bulk and keep your food volume a little bit lower. So I actually use more protein powder if I'm bulking than if I'm cutting, because if I'm cutting, I just want to eat a lot of beans so I can feel full. And as always, if you want to use protein powder, you can use my code RP5 on the Vivo Life store to get 10% off the best protein in the world. Okay, the next tip is increase your fat if you have to, but don't overdo it. Because fat is the macronutrient that will be easier to store as fat for our bodies. Yes, all calories are technically the same as a unit of measure, like all miles are 1 mile and all kilometers are 1 kilometer, but calories from fat will be stored as fat easier than calories from carbohydrates or calories from protein. So don't overdo it on the fats if you're in a caloric surplus, because a caloric surplus of 300 calories of fat and a caloric surplus of 300 calories of protein or carbs will not be the same, and you will store more fat with a 300 calorie surplus of fat than with a 300 calorie surplus from carbs. Okay, the next tip is a very basic one. Do smoothies. You can put a lot of calories into a smoothie. You can make 1,000 calorie smoothies and it will be really easy to take in. So as a breakfast or a post-workout, pre-workout, anything, do smoothies with oats, with seeds. You can even add beets, protein powder, all of that. So smoothies are a great way to go. And like smoothies, baking oats and raisins, cookies, brownies, like healthy brownies, bean brownies or sweet potato brownies, energy balls, energy bars, granolas, all of that will make it really easier for you to eat a lot of calories. So do bake a lot of those. I find it really easy to do healthy 100% whole food plant-based meals with that and get a lot of calories. Okay, and my last tip is eat ginger. And why? Because after a meal I usually have a little piece of ginger and it really helps with my digestion, so I feel better after a meal instead of feeling really full, and I feel that the meal digests quicker. So eat a lot of ginger. It's super high anti-inflammatory, so it's gonna be great for you anyway, but after a meal it's even better because it will aid with digestion. Alright everybody, that's it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like the video if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share the video, comment down below your best tips, and I'm gonna see you all in the next video. Peace!